Hi, fifth grade. So we are going to work on area of a square and squares and square roots today. And we'll talk about the quiz for Friday that's scheduled. So first of all, on page 263, we need to work on area of a square, which is right here. And I'm gonna turn this way. And so area of a square, it's area equals side times side. So instead of, you can also write it that way, or you can do area equals s squared. So we're going to talk about that in a little while. Right now we'll just do area equals s times s, which is side times side. So if on 2a, on page 263, they've given you the area of 9.3 feet. So you'll say area equals s times s. So area equals, and they've given you 9.3 times 9.3. So you're multiplying it by itself. And so when you get that final answer, it will be 86. And make sure you put your decimal in the correct spot. You have two places behind the decimal, so therefore in the problem, so therefore in your answer, you better have two places behind that decimal in the problem, in the answer. And it is squared feet. So if you're dealing with feet in the original equation at the beginning, the final answer should be square feet, okay? 2b, so you have area equals s times s. And on B, it is 18. So you'll have area equals 18 times 18. And when you multiply that out, that will be 324 square feet. Okay, so that's 2B. C, your formula, area equals S times S. And on this one, you have 1 1/2 yards. So when you have 1 1/2 yards, which is a mixed number, you need to make it into an improper fraction. How do we make it into an improper fraction? We multiply the bottom and we add the top. So we multiply the bottom, 1 times 2, add the top, plus 1, so that should be 3 over 2. So you say 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. Can't cancel anything out within the problem. So we just multiply across. So 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 2 is 4. So that's going to give you an improper fraction for the answer. So it'll be 9 over 4. So when you have an improper fraction, always reduce it all the way down. So that becomes a division problem. So 4 will go into 9 2 times, and then whatever your remainder is, that becomes your numerator. So that's 1, and then whatever you're dividing by, which is 4, is your denominator. So your answer will be 2 1/4. Okay? So that is area of a square. On the bottom of 263, they're asking you to find the area of the rectangles, and they've given you the dimensions. That make sure you use the formula area equals length times width, and then just plug in the numbers, whatever the length they've given you, whatever the width they've given you. Okay? So now we're going to page 265. Squares and square roots. So area of a square is the product of the side by itself. So 3 times 3 equals 9. Another way to write that is 3 with the exponent of 2, which means you're squaring it. 3 squared equals 9. So this mathematical sentence is the same as this. Okay? So the reverse of that, which is square roots, so you take your 25. What do you multiply by itself in order to get 25? 5. So your answer, you're doing the total opposite from squaring, which is 3 times 3 is 9. So basically you're taking this answer and seeing what you're multiplying by in order to get that answer, because 5 times 5 equals 25. So let's just start with 2a. You have 1 squared. So 1 squared is 1 times 1. Okay? 1 times 1 equals 1. So that would be your answer on 2A. So on B, you're saying 2 squared, which is 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Easy. C, 3 squared. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? D, 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Then you have 5 squared. 5 times 5 is 25. So now we're taking the square root, so you're doing the opposite on these. So 1 divided by 1 is 1, okay? Because 1 times 1 is 1. So that one's easy. B, what would you multiply to get 4 by itself? 2, okay? So you're doing the opposite of these. Basically, you're taking the answer, putting it in the square root, and that is what you multiply by itself. So the square root of 9, what do you multiply by itself to get 9? 3. On D, what do you multiply by itself to get 16? 4. On E, what do you multiply by itself to get 25? 5. And that's your final answer on that. So that should help you on 2 and 3. You also have a quiz this week, and you are allowed to use your book to look up formulas to help you in case you don't have it memorized up here. So you'll need to know converting Fahrenheit to Celsius, converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, perimeter of a rectangle, and perimeter of a square. And they're also asking you on the quiz to find perimeters of a square, a rectangle, a triangle, and asking for the final answer on those. The rest of it is addition with decimals, subtraction with mixed numbers, addition with fractions. Make sure whenever, like we said on this problem here, whenever you have decimals within a problem and you're multiplying, make sure if there's 2, there's a number up here and a number up here, so that means there should be 2 numbers behind that decimal, behind the decimal, so therefore you should have 2 numbers to the right hand side of the decimal. Okay, always check within your problem, and when you have a multiplication problem with decimals, make sure you do that in the answer. Move your decimal over however many times, the correct amount of times. If it's addition or subtraction or division, you're just lining up those decimals exactly in the answer. Okay, so the multiplication is the only one that you have to count and see how many are behind that decimal. So good luck on your quiz this week. Please let me know if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to text. And I just want you all to know how much I miss you. And I hope you do well this week and have a great week. Bye.